A RIP MF Doomed on it says Canadian laws, Omegle.
On July 30th, 2008, a 22-year-old Canadian carnival worker named Tim McLean
The fuck is this?
was taking a Greyhound bus from Edmonton to Winnipeg when the bus stopped to pick up another passenger, 40-year-old Vince Lee. At first, Lee took a seat at the front of the bus, but eventually moved next to McLean during a rest stop. McLean gave Lee a smile and asked how he was doing before putting on his headphones and closing his eyes for some sleep. Soon after, Lee produced a large knife and began stabbing McLean in the chest and neck.
Wait, who was who? Who stabbed? The first guy or second guy? Who stabbed the other guy? Second guy stabbed the first guy.
Neck. The bus driver disabled the bus and began
Second guy stabbed the first guy.
ushering passengers out the exit as the attack took place. At one point, the driver and two other passengers attempted to get back on the bus to try and help McLean, but they were chased away by Lee, who slashed at them through the locked doors. Lee then decapitated McLean's body and began parading his head around the bus as he held it up to show the horrified passengers and driver. Witnesses claim Lee returned to the body and began eating and cutting off pieces of McLean's corpse. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived at about 8:30 p.m. to find the bus driver and two other people using a crowbar and hammer to keep Lee from escaping the bus. Around 9 p.m., the Canadian police claim they witnessed Lee eating pieces of Tim McLean's body. They also heard Lee say, "I have to stay on the bus forever." On July 31st at 1:30 a.m., Vince Lee attempted to escape by breaking a window and jumping out of the bus. He was subdued by 2 hits from a taser and taken into police custody. Parts of McLean's body were placed in plastic bags and retrieved from the bus, while his ear, nose, and tongue were found in Lee's pockets. The victim's eyes and a part of his heart were never recovered and are presumed to have been eaten by Lee. Lee was charged with second-degree murder, and his trial took place on March 3, 2009, with Lee pleading not criminally responsible. The only words Lee reportedly said during his court appearance were pleas for someone to kill him. The psychiatrist diagnosed Lee with schizophrenia and said that Lee had performed the attack because God's voice told him McLean was a force of evil that was about to kill him. The presiding judge, John Scurfield, accepted the diagnosis and ruled that Lee was not criminally responsible for the killing. Lee was eventually sent to the Selkirk Mental Health Center. On May 30th, 2011,
I don't know
the
which one
CBC
is
reported
worse,
that
dude.
Lee was responding
Which one is worse, real prison or mental institute prison? I don't know why they often plead insane, right? I could very well think that the mental institute is worse, you know? I don't know if I would plead insane.
well to his psychiatric treatment, and that his doctor had recommended he
I guess you have the chance of getting released easier from a mental hospital, right? Even if you've killed someone.
receive more freedoms over the course of several months. On May 17, 2012, the National Post reported that Lee had been granted temporary passes that would allow him out of the Selkirk Mental Health Center for visits to the town of Selkirk, while under the supervision of a nurse and police officer. In an interview, Lee spoke for the first time, saying that he began hearing the voice of God in 2004 and that he wanted to save the people from an alien attack. On February 27, 2014,
God and aliens.
the CBC reported that on March 6, Lee was allowed to have unsupervised visits to Selkirk, starting at 30 minutes and expanding to full-day trips. On February 27, 2015, CBC News reported that Lee was given unsupervised day passes to visit Winnipeg so long as he carried a functioning cell phone while using them. On May 8, 2015, CTV News reported that Lee would be granted passes to group homes in the community. The next day, Tim McLean's mother held a rally where she made an emotional statement against the hospital's and doctors' decision to grant Lee gradual freedoms in the public. However, Lee's doctor insisted that Lee had shown profound
He's gonna eat
improvement
someone
and
again,
was
right?
a low risk to reoffend. He said even if Lee stopped taking his medication, the effects would stay in his bloodstream for a few weeks. He also stated that the group homes had curfews and around-the-clock staff to make sure Lee took his medications. In February 2016, it was reported that Lee had legally changed his name to Will Baker and was seeking to leave his group home to live independently. He won the right to live alone on February 26th upon the recommendation of the Criminal Code Review Board. On February 10, 2017, the Manitoba Criminal Code Review Board decided that Will Baker was not a threat to the safety of the public and ordered that Baker be discharged. Will Baker was granted complete freedom. There will be no legal obligations or restrictions to his independent living. Baker's doctor, Jeffrey Waldman, told the board that he was confident Baker would stay on his medication.
It's not NA, it's Canada. Dude, that's absolutely crazy, dude. I mean, I don't know what the fuck that ending was. I thought they were gonna come to some sort of plot twist, but it was just the fact that he got pretty much fully released. Yeah. NA, okay. NA, alright. You know what the fuck I mean, dude. When people say NA, they mean fucking USA, alright? That's what they mean.